Hey everyone, hi, welcome back to my channel. So what are we doing today? Today I am going to go through a bunch of gifted books. I have been gifted a bunch of ebooks recently for which I am so stinking grateful. I'm so grateful. And they have come in such a, I have a couple of people that send me ebooks, and mostly they are from Nathan. Nathan, you know who you are. And I've been gifted the so much that I actually haven't been able to dive into what they are and who they're by. I've done some mild research around these gifts, and so anyways, this whole thing is like, we're gonna do this in chunks because this is going to be spread across a couple of different videos because there is a lot to explore. And so I'm gonna go through, I don't know, 10, 12, I'm gonna chat for about 15 or 20 minutes, hopefully. My videos can run quite long. Just talking about the new ebooks that I've gotten and taking this time to maybe explore what they are about. And, you know, if you have stuff to add as to like, you know, if you have stuff to add about what you thought of the book, if you own the book, if you read the book, your own thoughts about the book, or these books, you know, if you've read multiple of them, I would really love to know. And we can kind of go through this process together. We are going to go through this process together if you stick around. If you are new to my channel, then hi, I'm Shelly. I love books and reading so much. And it has become such a thing that actually people gift me books on a regular basis. Again, such a wonderful and weird and amazing position to be in, to be gifted books. And anyways, if you also love books and reading and you love diving into different books and knowing about books and all of that kind of stuff, I would encourage you to subscribe, stick around, and without any further rambling on, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. I'm going to scoot to the side so I have plenty of space to put up the pictures for the books. The first book is Normal Rules Don't Apply by Kate Atkinson. I talked about this in my recent video about the New York Times recommended books for fall, and for the most part I wasn't interested in the books, but I have recently read a Kate Atkinson book. Her first, I forget what it's called now. The book that I read by Kate Atkinson was Case Histories. She has almost like a dual identity as an author. She writes literary books, literary like the height of, you know, thinking about language and structure, and she writes basically hoity-toity award-winning books. She also writes short stories. She's got like three personalities. On the one hand, three personalities. What has three things? She's a pyramid. On one side of the pyramid, she has short stories, and she is known. Like, I've heard so many good things about her short story collections. And then on the other side, on the next side of the pyramid, she has literary novels with a capital L, in which she has been, you know, nominated for really snobby, maybe not snobby, really hoity-toity prizes, literary prizes, you know, the ones that everyone follows. She has been like nominated and shortlisted and longlisted for prizes such as that. And then also she has these mystery books, and they do run they're closest to like Tana French. In her Tana French is like Into the Woods, In the Woods, but Kate Atkinson is like adjacent to that in that she's not just writing a mystery novel, she's writing like, you know, a literary mystery where it's more, she's interested in the inner workings of her characters and the internal lives of her characters, similar to Tana French. And but she, like, there are some people who only know Kate Atkinson for her mystery novels. There are some people who only know Kate Atkinson for her short stories, or like who most know her for her short stories and don't realize that she's written mysteries. And there are some people who know her like hard-hitting literary works. And so she's a dynamic writer. And for that, I really admire her. So I read Case, wow, this is a really long ramble for the beginning of the video. I read Case Histories and I thought it was fantastic. Like fantastic, beautiful, amazing. Loved it. I really enjoyed that book. And so when the New York Times was promoting, I have my computer right here, by the way. That's maybe why I'm like looking in this direction. But when the New York Times was promoting her new book, of course, I'm like on this high from reading Case Histories by her. And I'm like, I will read anything she ever wrote. Her new book, her oldest book, I will read anything. And so with that energy, I talked about normal rules don't apply. But I actually didn't really dive into what it is about. So let me see. Okay, so it is 11 interconnected short stories. Wonderful. And we meet a queen who makes a bargain she cannot keep, a secretary who watches over the life she has just left. Ooh, that's a secretary who watches over the life she has just left. Did she die? Is she like stalking her former life? I don't know. A man who bets on a horse that may or may not have spoken to him. Okay, I'm getting like magical realistic vibes here. Everything that readers love in her novels. Well, yeah, and then they're gonna like talk about how wonderful and amazing it is. I like that it's interconnected. I think it helps me as a reader like be more invested in the collection when it's interconnected short stories. And typically I'm not a short story reader. So this, you know, Kate Atkinson is something special for me to be all excited about her short story collection. So that is the first book. The next is something that I talked about wanting, and it's a Grady Hendrix book. I read My Best Friend's Exorcism, and I loved that book. I loved it so much. It was so like campy horror about friendship, but you know, it was, as much as it was a horror novel and light and campy and silly in a lot of ways, and predictable, there was something about Grady Hendrix's characters that felt quite sincere. And the way he wrote female friendship was really beautiful in honoring those women. And I love that. And so I was like, in a recent video, I was like, I just want to read all of the Grady Hendrix books. I want them all for when I want to read them. And so I was gifted How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. So this is it's a tense, dark novel, of course, that looks at family trauma and lifelong sibling rivalry, while also delivering a heaping serving of demonic puppets, violence, and undead squirrels. Okay, that sounds like a lot of fun. Grady Hendrix, all the way. Actually, NPR, National Public Radio, has a book review of it, and if I remember, I will leave the article linked down below. It's a full article. But yeah, let's see. It is set in Charleston. I think a lot of his novels are set in Charleston, South Carolina. I live within driving distance away from Charleston, South Carolina, and I've spent quite a bit of time there. And so I really enjoy novels that not only write about the South, but write about the South that is true to the South. There is, having lived in the Deep South for well over a decade. It's so funny. I'm teaching children who are born and raised here, but I've been here longer than those children, which is just so strange to me. I think it's been like 13 or 14 years that I've been in the Deep South. And so, you know, there is a way to explore the Deep South. And, you know, there's kind of like a right way and a wrong way. And I think sometimes writers can sort of slip into stereotypical territory when it comes to writing about the South. And Grady Hendrix just does it so well, you know? It's like a feature in his novel, but it's not a main character, which is quite nice. And it's just not... I think there are times where you can kind of slip into being tropey, like Southern tropes, stereotypical, and somehow Grady Hendrix, at least with My Best Friend's Exorcism, was able to completely avoid that while still staying true to what feels like the South. I'm just giving all vibes and no concrete analysis. So I'm just going to move on. But How to Sell a Haunted House was a book that was gifted to me recently. Also sent to me was a book that I have never heard of. This happens often. And it's called Strip Tease, Tees, a memoir of millennial Los Angeles by Kate Flannery. I am a millennial myself. And so maybe that's why this book was given to me. I don't know who Kate Flannery is. So let me read this description. So at the turn of the new millennium, LA is a place to be. Hipster is a new word on the scene. I have been called a hipster because I live in the South and I'm from California, and I have like a style that is hipster adjacent perhaps. So I have been called a hipster. So hipster is the new word on the scene. Lauren Conrad is living her Cinderella story in the hills on millions of television sets across the country. I never watched The Hills. Paris Hilton tells us that's hot. I don't know how she said it because I don't know much about Paris Hilton. From behind the biggest sunglasses imaginable while beautiful teenagers fight and fall in love on the OC. Didn't watch the OC either. I mean, even though I was born and raised in California, I was born and raised in the Central Valley of California. So I am from a town called Stockton, and it's not beach life. It's more like farm girl life meets the city. That's more of where it's more like oh, how do I explain Stockton? If you have like 3 hours, I could talk to you about what Stockton is like, but it's more like gangster. I don't know if I'm using that term right. It's more like, hi, I'm homeschooled and I live in a city that is grungy or tries to be grungy and has a whole bunch of issues, but is also surrounded by farm country. And I had to drive a couple hours to get to the beach. So, yeah. Oh, Kate Flannery, she starts American Apparel. I have never bought anything from American Apparel, but that's okay. And I know that American Apparel is known for their like really sexy, racy photos. So, and it's supposed to be quite feminist. That's actually kind of interesting. Perhaps a possibility. People know me better than I know myself. Like this is the crux of the video. And like people who send me books know me better than I know myself, because this actually sounds kind of interesting. But I guess it's her memoir. Kate Flannery, the founder of American Apparel, her memoir. Okay, well that sounds really interesting. And it's actually not super long. It's about 220 pages. The next book is called The Real Valkyrie. Oh man. Okay. It's by Nancy Marie Brown, and it's called The Hidden History of Viking Warrior Women. So it is no secret that I love books about strong women, written by women. And this is in the tradition of Stacy Schiff's, who is a very, who writes history, and she mostly is known for her book Cleopatra, which talks about what she uses a lot of her imagination to sort of fill in the gaps about Cleopatra, and apparently it's supposed to be really good. I actually own Stacy Schiff's Cleopatra and have not read it yet. So this is in the same vein, or is seeking out fans of Cleopatra. And this is, it says, in 2017, DNA tests revealed to the collective shock of many scholars that a Viking warrior in a high-status grave in Birka, Sweden, was actually a woman. So a Viking woman, the real Valkyrie weaves together archaeology, history, and literature to imagine her life and times, showing that Viking women had more power and agency than historians have imagined. Well, that sounds really interesting and right up my alley. Like, that sounds really interesting. I'm so glad I'm able to sit down and explore this with you all, because I have not been setting aside the time to do so. And this is super fun. Super fun. It's like getting a pile of gifts and then going, which it is digitally. I've been, this is a pile of gifts, and now I'm like not GIFs, gifts. and being able to like open them up and see them with you, but in the digital space. This is really cool. What? This looks amazing. Tales from the Ant World. Oh my goodness. The cover, y'all. The cover. Oh my gosh. It's by Edward O. Wilson. Okay, calm down, girl. Calm down. Okay, it is no secret that I love bugs. I love bugs. I don't get to read as much as I want to, and I don't carve out enough time to read about bugs, but I love me some bugs. I love bugs. I love bugs. So apparently, Edward O. Wilson is a Pulitzer Prize winning novelist, author, probably nonfiction author. It's not even that long. It's 240 pages. Okay, ants are the most warlike of all animals. With colony pitted against colony, writes Edward O. Wilson, one of the world's most beloved scientists. And then it continues to quote him, their clashes dwarf Waterloo and Gettysburg. Their clashes dwarf Waterloo and Gettysburg. So this has, it's illustrated. There are 28 black and white images. So it says, animating his scientific observations with illuminating personal stories, Wilson hones in on 25 ant species to explain how these genetically superior creatures talk, smell, taste, and more significantly, how they fight to determine who is dominant. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This sounds so good. Okay, I'm going to stop. I'm like getting really, really like excited right now. Wow. Wow, I swear y'all know me better than I know myself. This is so exciting. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Wow, I just didn't even know this book existed. And then now I have a copy. I feel so lucky, and this looks so good. And it looks like it's in the hands of an amazing author. I am just thrilled. And the cover, y'all, the cover of this book is perfection. Love it so much. I'm gonna stop. Right, the final book I'm going to talk about because of time constraints is Joan is Okay, and it's by Welkie Wang. I've never heard, or Welkie Wang, and I've never heard of this author, but apparently it's one of the best books of the year according to the New York Times Book Review, the New Yorker, NPR, Washington Post, and Vox. Okay, so I feel like I'm missing out on something. So Joan is a 30-something ICU doctor at a busy New York City hospital. Daughter of Chinese parents who came to the U.S. to secure the American dream for their children, Joan is intensely devoted to her work. Happy, solitary, successful. She does look up sometimes and wonder where her true roots lie. At the hospital, where her white coat makes her feel needed, or with her family who try to spare her life from their own cultural and social expectations. Interesting. And so it says it's like a portrait and deeply resonant of a single person and a tight-knit family. So, I mean, this sounds like my kind of read. And again, it's not very long. Wow. I have not even heard of this novel. What in the world? I haven't heard of a lot of these books, actually. So I'm so glad that I was able to dive into these with you. Again, these are like ebooks that I'm going to be putting on my Kindle, or I've already put on my Kindle and hope to read soon. But this was so great. I'm so glad I was able to sit down with y'all and to share my joy and excitement about these books. It's like Christmas. It's like Christmas every day. Okay, well, I have so many more books to get through, and I definitely want to do more of these like sit down chatty. I just received a handful of books from somebody, and I want to share them with you. So thank you so much for, watching and spending this time with me. Tell me about these books if you've read them and if they've worked for you or not worked for you, and to let me know why. I would love to know. And what have you bought recently? All the questions, all the energy, all the excitement. Thank you so much. And thank you for those who have gifted me books. I just desperately, amazingly, full of gratitude, just pour my heart out to you in thanks and praise, and that's it. So I'm done talking. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here and spending this time with me. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.